Hi, welcome to Jacob Pei channel. I'm Mr. Pei. Today, I would like to share with you the answering technique in SPM KSSM practical tests for subject physics. So I understand that some of you still worry and have a lot of doubt, in paper 3. So I hope that my sharing today are able to let you gain more idea and knowledge in answering the paper 3 in subject physics. So the topic I'm going to discuss with you in the stimulation of the practical test is regarding the experiment you have already did in Form 5 syllabus, Chapter 3, Electricity. Is an experiment 3.2 to study the relationship between the length and the resistance of wire. So in BM is a hubungan antara, panjang dan rintangan dawai. So this is one of the compulsory experiment which is study the effect of the effect will affecting the resistance of wire. So in this video clip there are 3 important content you are able to make. So the first is about the new format of SPM KSSM paper 3, and the second one is the type of question will be asking you in the paper 3 for subject physics. The last one will be the stimulation practical test for experiment, which is to study the relationship between the length and the resistance of wire. So are you ready? Let's go together. The first content of our today's video is about the new format of SPM KSSM paper 3 for subject physics. Let us look at the changes in the new format SPM in paper 3. Basically, there is 4 important changes you have to know in the KSSM physics paper 3. The first is regarding the instrument type. For the previous KBSM syllabus, so the paper 3 all is about the subjective question, but currently the latest KSSM paper 3 was changed to integrated science practical test. So that means the students have to conduct the experiment and get their own data and analyze the data according to the question given. So the next, there will be 3 questions in the paper. Each subject will have 1 question. For example, physics will have 1 question. Chemistry and biology each also have their own question. So total we have 3 subjects for 3 questions. So however, the question selected by the students will be according to the subject register. For example, if the candidate register for 2 subjects, for example, physics and chemistry, the person will only answering 2 questions according to the subject register. So the next will be the total mark for each subject. There is 15 marks for each subject, so that means total for the 3 subjects will be 45 marks. And then the allocation time for whole paper will be 2 hours 15 minutes. So that means if you divide by 3, each subject will be provided 45 minutes. However, in the first 15 minutes, student or candidate have to check the apparatus and material, and they are allowed to read the question and do the planning of their experiment. So if divide by 3, so that means each subject will have 5 minutes for the preparation. So the remaining 2 hours divided by 3, there will be 40 minutes for each subject. So the remaining 40 minutes for each subject, the student or candidate have to conducting the experiment and then complete the question. So the time planning is very important. So I suggested that the time taken for conducting the experiments must be maximum 20 minutes, and the remaining 20 minutes you have to complete your question. So the second contents of the lesson today is I will introduce the types of question for SPM KSSM paper 3 for subject physics. So basically there are two types of question. So the first type of question is guided practical assessment question. In BM we call tugasan amali berbantu. So in this type of question, the candidate will be instructed to perform the assess construct. So it provides opportunity for candidate for low achievement group to demonstrate their level of mastery. So in more simple words, actually the question will provide you the procedure of the experiment, so that the student just need to follow the instruction of the procedure and then conduct the experiment. And the second type of question is non-guided practical assessment. In BM we call tugasan amali tidak berbantu. So for second type of question, so the candidate need to do the planning their own, select the technique as well as the tool and material their own. So that means the question will be not providing any procedure. So after conducting the investigation, so the candidate also need to know how to do the collecting data and record, interpret the data. So as I mentioned, the procedure is not provided in this type of question. So the candidate have to plan the experiment with the apparatus and material list provided. Today, I will discuss with you the second type of the question, which is non-guided practical assessment. Okay, so now let's see together the distribution mark for subject physics. So here is the distribution mark for the physics in the question 1. It is about the guided practical assignments type of question. So basically, you are actually have the experience for your first time of the practical test, which is on the May of 2021. So this is a sample question for your first trial of paper 3. So let us go through very fast. So this is the apparatus, okay, and material listed in question 1. So the question, okay, is given all the steps and also the figure for you to conducting your experiment. So this type of question will be easier. In this question, you're asking to state the variable, okay, manipulated variable and the responding variable, and then you have to tabulate data 6 mark. So how you can get the full 6 mark later on, we will discuss together. Okay, and then you have to plot the graph 3 mark. How you can get full 3 mark, okay, later on, okay, we will see together. But the question we are going to discuss will be the second type, so which is a non-guided practical assignment. And then the D will be the relationship, okay, between the X, which is the extension of the rubber band, and to the mass of the bottle. And then the question asking you to find the gradients. And then the last question will be the hot question, okay, kebab question. So total will be 15 mark. So this is a distribution mark for your first trial practical test. So the variable will be 2 marks, tabulation 6 mark, graph 3 mark, gradient 3 mark, and 1 mark for hot question. Total 15 marks. Okay, so next will be the distribution mark for question number 3. So question number 3 will be the non-guided practical assignment question. So as mentioned for this type of question, okay, no procedure will be provided for candidate. So the candidate have to plan, okay, have to plan the experiment based on the apparatus and material listed out in the checklist. So the first 4 mark in the example question, okay, I'm going to discuss with you. 4 mark will be regarding the diagram and procedure, okay, so you have to draw the diagram and write the appropriate procedure for the experiment. And then your data get by conducting the experiment will be tabulated, and then again plot the graph. This will be almost same as the question number 1. Okay, you have already go through in your first trial in paper 3 on May. So one of the mark will be data analysis, and one question regarding the hot question. So besides the listed question, so all of you actually already have the skill, okay, how to write your compulsory experiment report. So that means the others item you have already learned in your compulsory experiment will be also possible as in your paper 3. So for example, they have 3 different variables. So constant variable, manipulated variable, and also the responding variable. Inference, hypothesis, precaution, observation, operational definition, and others item you have already learned how to write in your experiment report, so they will be possible to ask in your paper 3. Okay, so now let us go to the most important part in this video. So this is an example of practical test simulation. So I am taking the question from the experiment 3.2, factor affecting the resistance, but we choose one of the factor. So we study the relationship between the length and the resistance of wire. So this is actually one of the compulsory experiment you have already did at Form 5 syllabus, Chapter 3, electricity. So this is one of the factor will be affecting the resistance of wire. Okay, so basically all of the paper 3, so they will be have a checklist. So let us go through the instruction first. So you are not allowed to work with the apparatus in the first 15 minutes. So this period is used to check your apparatus list, read the question, plan your experiment, which will carry out. So mark in the box provided to check the material, apparatus prepare and supply. So that means in these 15 minutes you have to check all 3 subject, apparatus and material. And then you are allowed to read the question and do the planning. Okay, so here is the checklist for the apparatus and material provided as mentioned. Okay, for each subject or question you have about 5 minutes to check, okay, and plan. Okay, so this is the apparatus and material checklist. Okay, you have to check the quantity and the type of the apparatus and material using correctly. So normally all the apparatus and material will be put in the basin. If you have enough quantity of the dry cell, you just pick, okay, the second cell holder for 3 cells. Okay, you can look at the figure. There is a cell holder which are able to put 4 cells, so that means there is actually more than enough. So ammeter with the range of 0 to 1 ampere, voltmeter 0 to 5.0 volt, and then we have the item number 5, resistance wire Q, okay, which is a constant SWG 28 mounted on the meter rule. So the apparatus number 6 will be jockey, and the 7 will be connecting wire with Corrodine clip. If I say all apparatus and material correct with the quantity, so you just tick. So and then you are allowed to read the question before the 15 minutes. So within the 5 minutes, okay, for each subject or question, you have to read and plan. So here you are required to carry out the experiment to investigate the relationship between the length of the constant wire and resistance in the circuit. Okay, so as I mentioned, okay, question 3 will be the question regarding the non-guided practical assignment question. So no procedure, no any diagram will be provided. So we just go through the question again. Okay, so here, plan your experiment by using apparatus and material provided. Your procedure should include method to handle variable, precaution steps. Okay, so that means 4 marks you have to have, 4 points. In this type of question, without any procedure, what we have to start? So the first step, the question we provided you some information regarding the manipulated variable and responding variable. So step 1, identify what is the manipulated variable and the responding variable in the question. Okay, so here the manipulated variable will be length of the wire, okay, with the symbol L. And second will be the responding variable, resistance with the symbol R. So how we can get the value of resistance? So from the Ohm's law, V equal to IR, so R will be V over I, right? Okay, so this is a formula you have already learned in your PT3. So that means we need the voltmeter and the ammeter to provide us the reading, and we just divide V with I, then we can get the resistance. So this is a basic knowledge you must able to relate. So the second step, we have to do the diagram. Okay, we just sketch a diagram. Okay, how we can relate MV and RV. So as mentioned, we have the length of the wire, okay, which is already mounted on the meter rule, and then our RV will be reading of voltmeter and ammeter. So that means the diagram should be almost like this. So the ammeter will be connecting in series. Okay, so the red line representing positive, okay, the black line representing the negative terminal. So, and you can see the voltmeter is connected in parallel. After that, we have to use the jockey and touch the constant wire, okay, with the reading of L. We are planning to get, and again the reading of B and the I we will be divide out to get the resistance. Within this 5 minutes, you have to do this all thing so that you can, okay, or you're able to complete your experiment within 20 minutes. So after this, we have to conduct our experiment. So let us see together how the way of conducting this experiment based on the diagram. So let us see together the practical test simulation. In this video, I will show you the simulation practical test for subjects physics. This is the experiment 3.2 to study the relationship between the length and the resistance of wire. This is a compulsory experiment for syllabus KSSM Form 5 Physics in Chapter 3 Electricity. And this is one of the factors affecting the resistance of wire. Apparatus and material we are going to use for this simulation are the cell holder, battery, voltmeter, ammeter, constant SWG28 mounted onto the metal rule, jockey, and also the connecting wire with crocodile clip. So firstly, you have to set up the apparatus according to the diagram. You have to arrange the apparatus according to the diagram. After that, you have to connect the positive terminal of the battery holder and make sure that your crocodile clip will be connected at the third battery, as we need 4.5 volt. At the end of the another crocodile clip will be connecting at the metal part of the thumbstick so that it will allow current to flow through. Next, connect the negative terminal of the cell holder, which is showing as the black button, to the negative terminal of the ammeter. Please ensure that the crocodile clip is touching the metal part of the voltmeter. Next, you have to connecting the positive terminal of the ammeter with the scale of 1 ampere with the metal part of the jockey. This is a T-junction, okay, at the part of jockey, so that you have to connecting the jockey with the negative terminal of the voltmeter. Again, you have to ensure that the metal part for the crocodile clip is connecting to the metal part. Next, connect the positive terminal of ammeter to the metal part of the thumbstick and make sure that the voltmeter scale is connecting with 5 volt. You may touch the jockey to the constant wire. Okay, so the voltmeter and ammeter point is deflected, showing that there is function. To allow the jockey move to longer distance, okay, you may connect another crocodile clip, okay, to the jockey. Okay, so this will be similar at the positive terminal of the ammeter. Okay, so if both the wire will be able to move for the longer distance. Again, make sure that the metal part of the crocodile clip is touching the metal part of the jockey. Okay, so now you can start to measure the voltmeter and ammeter according to the length, which is L, as we mentioned in the procedure. Okay, we will start our reading with L equal to 20 and repeated the experiment with the L with 30, 40, 50 and 60. Okay, so make sure you take your reading without Barrett's error. This is a close-up view for taking a reading on a voltmeter. You can see an image is formed on the metal strips. Therefore, the Barrett's error is occur. Your eyes should be at this position so that there is no any image formed on the metal strips. At this position again, you can see the image is formed on the metal strips, so that you must ensure that your eyes is exactly in the front of the mirror when taking a reading on a voltmeter, so that no image is formed on the mirror strips. Now, let us take the reading together. Please avoid Barrett's error when taking a reading on voltmeter and ammeter. The first reading will be taken is when L equal to 20 and we get the reading from voltmeter will be 0.9 and 0.8 at the ammeter. Minimum 5 readings have to be taken for plotting a graph. That's all for the stimulation. Thank you. Okay, so we have already finished our experiment. Okay, we get the reading of voltmeter and our current. So now let us go through the question. So the question A, the first question for question number 3 is regarding the diagram and procedure. So first mark will be given for the correct diagram. 4 mark, we need have 4 points. The first point will be diagram. So the ammeter connecting in series and the voltmeter connecting in parallel. You need to write like this, okay? Set up the apparatus as shown in the figure above. So together with the diagram, you get the first mark. So the second mark, you have to give your first manipulated variable. So the manipulated here will be L. So you have to give your first length of wire and recording your RV, which is voltmeter and ammeter. Here is the second point. You can write as this. Use jockey to touch the constant wire with L equal to 20 cm. This is the first manipulated variable reading, and then you have to record ammeter and voltmeter, which representing the responding variable. Okay, so the third point, repeat your manipulated variable at least 4 times, okay, including the first reading. We need at least 5 manipulated variables. Here, repeat the step 2 with L equal to 30, 40, 50, and 60. Okay, if let's say you want to have your own reading, you also can, as long as less than 100 cm, because the meter rule will be have 1 meter, which is the maximum will be 100 cm. Okay, so you can choose 20 cm, 40 cm, 60 cm, 80, and 100. So as long as we need at least 5 manipulated variable reading. Calculate your resistance with the formula V over I. So the last will be the precaution, okay, because the question asks us to give the procedure and also the precaution. Okay, so the precaution here is we want to ensure that our control variable, which is the temperature, is always constant and at a low temperature. Okay, so how we can ensure that the temperature of the wire will be always remain low? So we can switch off between the reading and reading time, okay, by removing the crocodile clip from the battery holder. So that means we want to disconnect the circuit when we not taking the reading. So this is 4 full mark for your reference. Okay, so the next question will be 3B regarding the tabulation. So the mark provided is 6 mark. So what is the important tips and important things, okay, you have to pay attention so that you can get the full mark for your tabulation. So that is actually very easy to get the full mark. So let us read the question together, okay? So for the experiment above, tabulate your data for L, V, I, and R in the space below. So here the question already give you the symbol. So L represent length of wire, V representing as volt, okay, voltage, I referring to current, and R referring to resistance. Okay, so this is a table you should able to do. So the first is L, so that is the 5 parameter which we have already mentioned in our procedure. Okay, we started with the value of 20, and then we repeated another 4 value, which is 30 to 60. Okay, total we have 5 manipulated variable value. Okay, and then we measure V and I by using voltmeter and ammeter. Then R, as mentioned, this is the Ohm's law. We calculate by using V over I. Then we get all the value here. So the first, okay, you have to write a symbol or parameter in your table. Okay, so this is the first tips, okay, you have to pay attention. Okay, so for second, okay, so for the second is a correct unit. Okay, so look at the blue circle. So all the symbols, okay, must come together with correct unit so that you are able to get the full mark for this tabulation. Third one, you need to have the consistent, okay, consistent decimal point for the each parameter. For example, for the length, we do not have any decimal, so we just keep our answer, okay, without decimal. For volt, we have 1 decimal place, so that means we must always keep 1 decimal point. For example, here we have 2 volt. Okay, if let's say you put 2 volt, you will be deduct, okay, 1 mark, okay, because you do not showing the consistent decimal point here. So another example here will be the first reading for current 0.60. So you must mention 60, okay, because others reading giving 2 decimal point. Okay, this is also same for the resistance. So this is the 3 important tips you have to remember when you are doing the tabulation. Okay, so the next question asks you to plot a graph. So on the graph paper given, draw a graph of R against I. So the table actually is not provided, and I just bring, okay, from the previous question. What are the important tips you have to take note here? Okay, so actually you have 6 important tips in drawing the graph. Okay, let's see together. So the first, you have to mention the symbol at Y and S axis. So here L representing length of wire, R representing the resistance. Second, you have to give correct unit. L is a cm and the resistance will be the ohm. So the third, you have to give correct scale. So how we get correct scale? You have to identify the minimum and maximum value. So for example, the resistance, the minimum value is 2.17 and the maximum value is 6.05. So you can see the y-axis, the maximum value here must be more than 6.05. Second, you must start your value with 0. So here must be started with 0. And then the third, you have to select correct scale. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, or even number 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and then 5, 10, 15, 20. We not accept any scale. For example, 1 unit representing 3 cm. So this is not a correct scale. So here, the maximum value for the length will be 60. So this is a correct scale. So the fourth, you have to plot each point. For example, here the first will be 20 and the resistance will be 2.17. Okay, so here the smallest value will be 0.1. Okay, 0.1. So you can choose to round off, okay, the 2.17 become 2.2. Okay, you get the first point, and the second point is 30 together with 3.27. So the smallest, okay, the smallest value for one box is 0.1. Okay, so that means we can round up to 3.3 and also others. So after that, you have to plot baseline. What is baseline? So baseline, that means the upper part and the lower part of the line consists of the value. Okay, so that means this is a balance line and considered as a baseline. And the last one is the size of the graph must be big enough. So at least 4 units times 5 units. So you have to remember, okay, these 6 important tips for draw a graph. So you will be get full mark if let's say you fulfill these 6 tips. Okay, so here is the question 3D, okay, regarding the data analysis, and 1 mark is provided. Okay, so let us read the question together. So based on the graph in C, state the relationship between R and L. R referring to resistance, L referring to length of the wire. Okay, so you can look at the figure here. So this is a straight line passing through the origin. So that means the relationship will be directly proportional. So R is directly proportional to L. Okay, so we have to see this. You will be get 1 mark. Okay, so this is the last question for question number 3. So normally will be end up with the hot question 1 mark. Okay, so look at the question. From your answer in D, okay, what happens to the resistance of the conductor when the length of the conductor increases? So from the graph, we know that R is directly proportional to L. So that means when the L increase, R will be increased. So this is the discussion regarding the second type of question. So non-guided practical assignment. Thank you everyone who has together with me until the end of the lesson. So I hope that my sharing regarding the answering technique in paper 3 for subject physics can help you more understand and get more idea to answering, especially in the second type of question, which is the non-guided practical assignment. So that's all for me today. See you next time. Bye.